Do violent sports create violent people? The violent sport of football is one of the most beloved sports in North America. A report by Harris Poll in 2011 confirms this, as 64% of Americans watch NFL football. Society loves to see some of the most elite athletes in the country showcase their speed, quickness, and strength on any given weekend. While many people enjoy watching football, does the violence that takes place on the field translate into off-the-field incidents as well? In terms of domestic violence, the answer would seem to be yes. Statistically speaking, football players are much more likely than the general population to commit crimes such as domestic violence. According to researcher Benjamin Morris in the NFL, domestic violence accounts for 48% of the violent crimes committed by players. It is a fact that athletes involved in violent sports are going to be more aggressive as a result. When your job is to launch yourself as hard as you can at another person in football, or knock someone out cold by whatever means necessary in UFC, of course these individuals are going to be more violent than the general population. However, this does not excuse the violent actions that some athletes commit off the field.
Well, Baltimore Ravens running back Ray Rice breaks his silence today, apologizing to his wife and his fans for the allegations that he attacked his wife, knocking her unconscious in a casino elevator this last February.
Back here at home tonight, the NFL under fire again. New outrage over players accused of domestic violence. The Dallas Cowboys signing defensive lineman Greg Hardy to a deal worth up to $13 million. Accused of attacking his girlfriend, he may not even be allowed on the field when the season starts.
Football is not the only sport that breeds aggressive people. Boxing and MMA are also breeding grounds for violent individuals. For example, one of the most legendary boxers in the history of the sport, Floyd Mayweather, has been arrested multiple times for domestic abuse. In MMA alone, at least 12 fighters have been accused of domestic abuse since 2010. An investigation by HBO's Real Sports found that the rate of domestic abuse arrests among mixed martial arts fighters is more than 3 times greater than that of football players.
And we continue our breaking news of the Mayweather incarceration. Boxing champ, former Olympian Floyd Mayweather Jr. just surrendered in a Clark County courtroom.
Violent sports not only take a toll on one's body, but also one's mind. Repeated blows to the head that athletes suffer may also be a reason for increased violence off the field. In a recent study, a neuroscientist scanned the brains of men who had been arrested for domestic violence, finding neural abnormalities such as a hyperactive amygdala. Neurologists have agreed that head injuries can seriously harm how the brain regulates anger, and Penn professor and well-known neurocriminologist Adrian Rain acknowledged that a link between NFL players' head injuries and domestic violence is very plausible. Linda Carroll at NBC News has also examined this growing issue, finding evidence that head injuries can damage the brain's frontal lobes, which control against aggressive behavior. But even with this information, some neurologists are skeptical that the NFL's concussion and domestic violence problems are linked. Chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or better known as CTE, is a progressive degenerative disease found in people with a history of repetitive brain trauma. Concussions and subconcussive hits to the head are the main cause of CTE. Even in players with CTE that were never arrested for domestic violence, controlling anger became an issue. Chris Henry, the Cincinnati Bengals wide receiver who suffered from CTE, died in the middle of a domestic dispute with his fiancée. Another victim of CTE, NFL Hall of Famer Lou Creekmer, suffered from increasingly intensive, angry, and aggressive outbursts, his family told researchers. Mike Webster, the Pittsburgh Steelers Hall of Famer, was the first player to be diagnosed with CTE, and in the years leading up to Webster's death, he became increasingly angry and violent, his widow told PBS Frontline. In conclusion, violent sports do create violent people. Most athletes who participate in violent sports must be aggressive in order to succeed in their careers. Head trauma that athletes suffer throughout their career also greatly contributes to former players possibly becoming violent individuals later in life. The aggressiveness players are exposed to on a daily basis within violent sports breeds aggressive people.